Hey guys, it's Deni as always. Today, we will look into the future to see what the game industry has in store for us. At the same time, we'll avoid all the junk and we won't mention very popular projects that are talked about almost every day. Today, you will be a little less known, but perhaps even much more interesting games, waiting for the release of which is definitely worth it. Click on the like, click on subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and let's go!
Do you miss adrenaline and dynamic gameplay? The perfect place to get it all? Good old Crossout. Tense battles, dozens of different vehicles, and hundreds of parts for their customization are waiting for you. You can make a powerful, bulletproof tank and destroy your enemies just by the look of it. Or make something smaller, but fast, and get in the back of unsuspecting enemies. In any case, Crossout is the best place to show everyone who is a real pro. Download the game at the link in the description.
I suggest to start with PvPvE shooter Arc Raiders, developed by Embark Studios. Yes, they are the same DICE developers who gave us the finals not so long ago, and we all remember how that shooter turned out and how much new it brought to the genre. Arc Raiders will be more similar to Helldivers 2, which was also released not so long ago. We here, also in cooperative, will need to protect the land from alien mechanized invaders. And yes, developers are planning to distribute the game on free model, which is also nice. The game looks very interesting. And the lovely lady from Stellar Blade is also amazing, and she does it very effectively because the developers did not go to the European developers and sing for the fact that the main characters, since it is a lady, should be incredibly beautiful girls. Even invited an Asian model who gave the appearance of the main character of the game, Eve. Gameplay is an action-adventure in a semi-open world. Visuals of the game is amazing, and wait for such a game is definitely worth it. And this game has been unheard of for a long time. It is Pragmata, which is made by Capcom. The visuals of the game are decent. The only downside is that there are very few trailers. Yes, there are gameplay ones, but it's still hard to fully understand what this sci-fi game is about. We have some, obviously not an ordinary girl, and a man in a spacesuit who protects her. From what? I don't fucking know. But visually, the game looks amazing, even considering the first time it was shown in 2020. It looked pretty good even then. Anyway, we wait for more information on it and see what it will be. What if we take Dante from Devil May Cry and give him to Chinese developers, Lost Soul aside? But here, Sony, who are funding this game, are involved, so developers from China are doing well in terms of opportunities. The events of Lost Soul aside unfold in a fantasy world, where science fiction and superpowers coexist. The game is about a hero named Khazur, who accidentally teams up with a symbiote. From the funny moments, the game still looks like Final Fantasy because the game designer wanted to make something similar, and so, as you can see, he did a pretty good job. This is probably one of the most popular games in this selection, at least I've already told about it, but even now, after we've seen what developers have prepared, the scale of everything is impressive. I really have some skepticism in terms of the number of details in the world. Of course, yes, we can pet kittens and dogs, fight and quest to do, but there is a suspicion that developers too much over-mutter with the possibilities of the game, and some of them will be just useless. But in any case, the scale on which Pearl Abyss swung is amazing. How many water games do you know? Well, I'm not talking about World of Warships, I'm talking about something bigger. We have Raft, Seed of Thieves, and Subnautica. But soon, there will be a new addition to that lineup in the form of Age of Water. This is an online adventure in the post-apocalyptic world of the future. We are waiting for excellent visuals, a huge map, the ability to build or capture boats, extract resources from the bottom of the ocean, or organize mass battles on the water. From the most pleasant, it should be released in the first quarter of this year, so we will be able to see what the developers have done there very soon. And also in May will be released the third part of the unique strategy in space, Homeworld 3. Incredibly beautiful strategy, with the ability to attack not only from the flanks, as in any other strategy, but also from below and above, because around the space and the possibilities of battle, limitless. It is amazing, by the way, that you can fight not only in open space, but also inside the huge, really gigantic remains of ships of ancient civilizations. It looks very large scale. Plus, in the game full simulation of ballistics, excellent graphics and story, which continues the history of Homeworld series. In general, fans of strategies and space should like it. And fans of strange voices in the head should like the new Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, which thanks to its visuals and unusual voices in the headphones was able to gather a large audience. Thanks to the success of the first part, the sequel did not take long to wait. Moreover, the developers decided to turn the story to the fullest and make the adventures of the warrior even more extensive. The battle scene with a huge giant shown in the first trailer is worth it. Full gameplay trailer showed that the graphics became a head higher as well as battle scenes. And I'm not even talking about the music in the background. Every year I re-watch the trailer for this. Very interesting. What developers will get in the end? Star Wars games have been getting more and more lately. Battlefront, KOTOR, Remake, Fallen Order, and so on. Some kind of MMORPG they are quietly making there. All this is very interesting, but in my opinion, Outlaws looks much more interesting because, first of all, it is the first open world in the Star Wars universe. Secondly, single-player game. And so, games, thanks to Fallen Order, we realized that it is possible to make, and even necessary. Players bring money, and it pays off no worse. So, we made an open-world game with a full-fledged story, where we, as an adventurer, Kai Vez, will fly in the Outer Ring until she is forced to commit the greatest heist in the history of the galaxy. It all looks pretty intriguing. There's a game coming out this fall that every single Warhammer fan in general is looking forward to, and I'm sure they've already saved up some money to pull the game's fattening price tag. All because in the trailers, what the developers have done looks too amazing. There are 3 pillars of a successful game, at least in terms of sales. The first is great visuals. The second, the studio, which in general can if it wants. Well, the third is a universe that already has a huge fan base. And that's it. In September, a sea of Tyranid blood will be spilled, because no one will miss the opportunity to fight for a space trooper. Not much is known about this game yet. First of all, the old, but already more than tested, Unreal Engine 4. Secondly, cool customization. And thirdly, a shooter with open cyberpunk world. Do it by the way, Tencent, which means that the developers, in fact, are not limited in budgets and can come up with a lot of unusual. The most unusual thing that is already there are pets. Here. In addition to the main character, you will have a pet assistant, from some cyberdog to a cyber bear, which you can also customize. That's something that was definitely lacking in Cyberpunk. All in all, it looks interesting. The game that all roguelike fans are waiting for, because this is the second part of one of the best roguelikes of all time. The second part of Hades looks like a maximally polished from all sides of the first part. You play as the nymph Milanoa. She is the sister of Zagros, and the events of the game take place sometime after the finale of the original. But you don't have to pass the first part to start the second one because the story is completely independent. Gameplay is all the same sessions of 15 to 40 minutes in the form of runs and rest in the hub location. By the way here, the scale will increase a bit and we will go beyond the underworld. How many and what locations will be is still unknown, but the visual part of the game is excellent. Also, not so long ago, developers told that the game will be released in early access in the second quarter of this year. Riot, it seems to me, decided to conquer all cyber sports disciplines. MOBA games have ripped a chunk off of Dota 2. Thank you, League of Legends. In shooters, they asked Counter-Strike to move a bit, and now get into fighting games with their new Project L, which the other day got the name This thing is called 2x Kyo. The name, frankly speaking, controversial, but it has symbols that directly hint that the characters in the battle will be several. The fights here are 2 on 2, and only those kind of fights. That means you'll have to look for a partner, but otherwise it looks interesting. And this MMORPG by Dune. In light of the release of the second part of the movie, the developers are very fussy to have time to show us this masterpiece as soon as possible. Gameplay-wise, it's going to be a survival game, where we appear on Arrakis and train not to D, building a base, different vehicles, fighting each other, and so on. Spice hunting is also an integral part of the gameplay. Set up your harvester for mining and then defend it from raiders, other factions, and players. Overall, it doesn't look bad. Is this Dark Souls crossed with Warframe? Well, the title is at least maximally so, but in reality it's a bit different. Rather, it is the same Warframe, in which the emphasis was made entirely on close combat and the pace of battles reduced. The game itself will tell about the collision of nature with mankind. Visually, it looks very unusual. The game leaves an impression as if it was Death Stranding, but tied to the theme with nature. Some leisurely pace like Kojima's is also present here. What it will be in the end, we'll find out when it's finally released. Well, that's all for today. I hope you found something interesting for you, so please click on the like and subscribe too. Well, with you was as always Deni, and have a nice day.